The Top Gun franchise from Hollywood is the gold standard of an aviation film. So if any other aviation film comes with a military background with it, it will be compared to Top Gun. It's inevitable. So when I say this film is India's Top Gun, you can either get offended that why I'm comparing, or it can be a moment of pride that the film is getting compared to Top Gun. And for me personally, this film made me proud. Let's talk. Hello guys, I'm Nona and today we are talking about the latest Hindi action aviation film Fighter by Siddharth Anand, who yet again delivers a blockbuster. Now I do feel the trailer was misleading because it gave a very different vibe to the film with those over dramatic dialogues being on the fine line of jingoism and patriotism. And I honestly want to know why would you do that? You made an amazing film. Did you need to do that in the trailer to sell more tickets? I don't know. Because this is a very well made mainstream action aviation film which will be a blockbuster and will earn a lot of money at the box office because it gets right every commercial element as well as give you a solid story. I think first let's talk about the visuals. The aerial shots are so well done. Maybe if you pause them or try to be too critical, you may find faults with the VFX, but when it's in motion, when you're watching it with context, you are just immersed into the action, and that's what you want. The choreography of the planes is very well done. It takes time to follow at the beginning, but as you get used to it, you are able to understand what's happening on screen. Something we have not seen in Top Gun is that slow motion shots of the planes, which are really cool to see on the big screen. This film is a visual treat and you should definitely watch it on the biggest screen possible. Visuals mean nothing if it's not supported by good narrative. And the biggest highlight for me for this film is the screenplay of it. The structure of the film is so good. There are no loose moments which you could have done away with. The screenplay does a really good job at establishing the danger at the start of the film itself. And then we get to the setup, introducing the characters, who these people are. So there's always this lingering sense of danger approaching. The first half is just action packed. Everything happens in the first half. And it made me wonder what's going to happen in the next half. At the interval moment, the film leaves you wanting more. You cannot leave the theater. And then the second half comparatively slow because it takes its time to build up to the climax. And even that works because it's not forced. Every 15 minutes you cannot have action. Action happens only when it's deserved, when it's the right time for it to happen. The characters in the film are very well established, especially the lead. All of them have an arc within the story. And at no point it feels like we're diverting from the main action. From the start, there are different hints about each character that makes you realize there's a lot more to them than we are seeing in this film. And that gives them depth. There's a line in the film which is in the trailer also, when Anil Kapoor says, build a bond because his interpersonal connections will be handy. And that advice works in the film also because all these characters are connected in different ways. The drama between them works very well because you cannot have action throughout the running time. You need to insert drama between that. And if that drama is not strong enough, not compelling enough, you'll be bored and you cannot just keep waiting for the action to happen. Everything in the film needs to work, and this film gets that right. Just the action cannot be the only appeal of the film. Siddharth Anand has also infused a lot of social commentary within the film, and there are some really good standout moments throughout. Now, as I said at the starting, there's a very fine line between patriotism and jingoism, and everyone has their own parameter for it. Some like the chest thumping, some don't. Some want it to be very grounded and nuanced. Now, from the trailer, even I wasn't sure what this film is trying, but there was a lot of talk about how this film is going the jingoistic way. And I think the best way to figure that out is what is the intention behind the film. Is the patriotism the part of the story, or are you using that patriotism to sell tickets? If the only selling point for your film is patriotism, then it will not work. And we have seen that in the past. But this film backs that patriotism in the narrative. And the way that works together feels organic. They have done a good job at that. And the film uses, real life instances that have happened in the past and evoke that anger from the audience. Because we as a country have suffered a lot from terrorism. We have lost our soldiers. In my view, the best film that balanced that really well was Uri, the surgical strike, because they kept it very grounded. And even this film keeps it very well balanced. Don't go from just the trailer line. And even that line, I would say there was no need for that. I get the sentiment behind it, but the idea that dialogue is propagating, I don't think our country stands for that. Yes, you will attack us, we will retaliate, we will take action, but the idea that we will occupy your country, that's not what we believe in, right? In our history, we have never attacked anyone. If someone else does something wrong, that doesn't mean we also do the same thing. Then there's no difference between us. And that's actually a line in the film also. I think these things are very personal to each one, and that preference will dictate how much you'll enjoy the film. Now, the film feels very authentic. Is the film accurate also? I'm not sure, because these are two very different things. All the technical terms used, the dialogue between the officers, everything feels authentic. At places you sense there's a simplification of things here to make every audience understand it, but at no point it feels like they have dumbed down it. There are certain dialogues, the actors repeating what we already saw just to explain explain it, but that happens very few times. The music of the film is really good. There's a one dancing song in the film and one at the end. I think both songs are very popular, and all the other lyrical music in the film as well as the background music works really well with the visuals. Now coming to the cast of the film, at start I did feel they would have casted some other actors for some of the supporting roles, but by the end it was fine. But it was a lead pair, Hrithik and Deepika, as well as Anil Kapoor, who really carried it. I feel the script gives a lot to Hrithik and Deepika to shine. There were some really good intense moments that will make you cry or even shed a tear. I remember in a Bhardwaj Rangan interview with Hrithik Roshan, BR mentioned that one scene from War where it's just a small scene where the characters glance at each other and it says a lot. It was a very nuanced scene, and Hrithik was impressed that BR got that. And even this film, there are many such moments where there's a very nuanced performance. It's just a glance between two characters and it tells you so much. And these are the things that makes your drama also interesting. You are not just dependent on the action scenes to work. Now the villains in the film are quite stereotypical. They are the villains, they'll have scars on their face, they're just pure evil, exaggerated, some even caricaturish, and that is definitely a weak thing about the film. Now this film has taken the route of giving a face to the enemy, so it's easy to target your anger towards. And again, because some of the real incidents have been used, there is a sense of danger that the villain create. But in 2024 you expect better, because it's like a cheat code that you are just using a tag of, oh, they are terrorists so they are bad, just believe that. I wanted to write those villains better instead of just relying on the audience to understand it. There was a reoccurrence of a very old stereotype thing that happens in most Bollywood films, where they have taken a Sardar character who's just stupid and a comic relief in the film, and I was like, come on. First, the actor was not performing well. He was one of the weakest link for me, and even if you want to do something like that, at least write something better. It was a face palm moment for me, and it's not just because it's a Sardar character. Even if it was a South Indian and the stereotypical portrayal of them in Hindi films, we have to move on from that. Now the action is well done throughout the film, especially the aerial shots, the maneuvers the jets do. But the one thing that didn't work for me was the hand-to-hand combat, and that too done with a shaky cam approach, which just felt off. It didn't work for me. And with the main climax portion also, they just took it too far, and it felt a letdown comparatively. What other things we got which are really good. See, at the end I would say it's a very well made mainstream action aviation film, which is definitely something new for Indian cinema. And just like with the legacy of Top Gun, which aspired so many people to get into Air Force, I think this film will do that too, because it makes it look cool. It is a celebration of the Indian Armed Force, especially the Air Force, and the film delivers on that. Now I'll be reviewing the other release of the week soon, but until then you can check out this video where I talked about my most anticipated films of 2024. What are you excited for? Let me know. What do you think? Do leave your thoughts in the comments below, and I will see you next time.